This morning I woke up and it was my birthday. So I made some coffee first thing and I took a walk down to this river, which is really near my campsite. And I can hear it from the campsite, but I didn't see it until this morning. It's pretty warm here, so I didn't need to use my quilt last night or the blow-up pad. So I think we're moving into some warmer days, at least while I'm here in New Mexico. It's really nice to be in a canyon at sunrise because you can see the sun creep down the opposite side of the canyon. I made some breakfast, like I mentioned yesterday, but I realized I had some pinto beans, so I substituted those for the pureed pumpkin, and I think that made a very tasty breakfast. After breakfast, I played the ukulele at the campsite and then went into this little town called Jemez Springs, which is about 10 minutes from the campsite. I stopped at this cafe and bakery and had some lunch and some coffee, and I was able to upload some of my vlog posts here. After lunch, I visited the town's several art galleries and artisan shops. It's a really artsy town with some very cool pieces, from fine art to jewelry to pottery to upcycled crafts. It's really a neat town to walk around and visit all of these shops. It's a little oasis. It's kind of like similar to Marfa in some respects, that it's a very out-of-the-way small town. It's kind of like an art haven. After gallery hopping, I went to the local hot springs, which were really, really nice. I don't have photos from the inside because it's a phone-free zone and I just wanted to respect people's privacy. But there were about 4 different pools, and it was just a very, very lovely and relaxing spot. I'll likely go back there before I leave this town. Also, pro tip, if you're camping and you need to take a shower, see if there is a hot springs around, because they require you to take a shower before you go into the pools. After the hot springs, I went back to the campsite and I played the ukulele a little bit more, and I opened up this really nice Japanese whiskey that my friend Mike gave me, and I had been saving it for today. It was so good. Thank you, Mike. After hanging at the campsite for a while, I went into town to have dinner at Los Ojos restaurant, and they had a musician playing there in the background. It was a really nice treat to be out. A massive plate of food, enchiladas. And I just walked around a little bit back to the car. This is a cafe that was closed. I think that a lot of places in New Mexico really only started opening up last week or the week before, actually. So though the cafe was closed, they still had a lot of animals outside. So I think there's still some activity around there. All in all, Jemez Springs has been such a delight. I'm so glad to be here. Here's the key lime tart that I got for my birthday pie that melted in the car a little bit, but it was still delicious. So now I'm back at the campsite. I've got the fire going. Last night the stars were so bright. This has been the best campsite for stars. A, because it's warm enough to be out, and B, because there's no obstruction and the moon is not rising until, the early morning hours. So you're able just to see the full effect of the sky being blanketed with stars. Before I leave you all today, I want to say hi to my dad. Dad, thanks for the birthday poem. He writes one every year, and this year he sent it by text since I'm not receiving mail anywhere at this point. I also want to say, Dad, that I appreciate you and Mom's patience and encouragement with learning songs on musical instruments. Although little Liza Jane was not so hard this morning, I spent some time this afternoon practicing La Vie en Rose, and I hope that my neighbors heard it with as much patience as you and Mom. For those of you who don't know, my dad is an entertainer, singing and playing the guitar, and probably has a catalog of about 5,000 songs already in his head. So Dad, thank you, love you. It's been an incredible birthday. Thanks to everyone who sent messages and who I've talked to. Love you all. Good night.